In the ethereal realm of Cuban mythology, where the veil between the living and the departed blurred, there existed a formidable orisha named Iku, the embodiment of death. His presence cast an ominous shadow over the mortal realm, instilling both fear and reverence in the hearts of all who crossed his path. Iku's origins were shrouded in mystery, his existence predating the dawn of time itself. He was said to have emerged from the primordial void, a solitary figure cloaked in darkness. His form was both ethereal and terrifying, his body a skeletal frame adorned with intricate tattoos that whispered tales of the countless souls he had claimed. As the orisha of death, Iku possessed immense power over the transition between life and the afterlife. He was the guardian of the boundary between the physical and spiritual realms, guiding the souls of the departed to their eternal resting place. His presence was often felt in the stillness of the night, when the veil between worlds grew thin. Iku's arrival was heralded by a chilling silence that enveloped the air. The wind would cease to blow, and the leaves of trees would hang motionless. A faint, ethereal glow would illuminate his path, casting an eerie glow upon the surroundings. Those who encountered him were said to experience a profound sense of peace, as if their own mortality had been momentarily suspended. Despite his fearsome reputation, Iku was not a malevolent being. He was merely the embodiment of an inevitable truth, the natural cycle of life and death. He respected those who accepted their fate with dignity and compassion, and he guided them gently into the afterlife. However, Iku's wrath was swift and merciless upon those who sought to defy his authority. He was known to punish those who clung too tightly to life, refusing to let go of their earthly possessions or relationships. He would also punish those who took the lives of others without just cause, condemning them to an eternity of torment in the underworld. One fateful night, as Iku made his rounds through a remote village, he encountered a young woman named Anya. Anya was a healer, renowned for her compassion and her ability to ease the suffering of the sick and dying. Iku was intrigued by her unwavering spirit and her willingness to face death without fear. As Iku approached Anya, she sensed his presence and turned to face him. Her eyes met his, and in that instant, she understood the true nature of his being. She did not fear him, but instead greeted him with a gentle smile. "Welcome, Iku," Anya said. "I have been expecting you." Iku was taken aback by Anya's composure. He had never encountered a mortal who accepted his presence with such grace. He lowered his skeletal hand and offered it to her. "Come, Anya," Iku said. "It is time for you to join your ancestors in the afterlife." Anya took Iku's hand and smiled. "I am ready," she said. Together, they walked through the veil that separated the living from the dead. As they entered the afterlife, Anya felt a sense of peace and tranquility wash over her. She had lived a good life, and she was now ready to embrace the next chapter of her existence. Iku guided Anya to a beautiful meadow, where the souls of her loved ones awaited her. They greeted her with open arms, and together they celebrated her arrival. Anya had finally found her eternal home, where she would live in peace and happiness for all eternity. As the sun rose over the village, Iku returned to the realm of the living. He had fulfilled his duty, guiding another soul into the afterlife. But as he watched the villagers go about their daily lives, he couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness. Iku knew that death was an inevitable part of life, but it still brought pain and sorrow to those left behind. He wished that he could ease their suffering, but he knew that his role was to guide the dead, not to comfort the living. And so, Iku continued his eternal journey, a solitary figure cloaked in darkness. He was the orisha of death, the guardian of the boundary between worlds. And though his presence brought fear and reverence, he also brought peace and acceptance to those who were ready to embrace the inevitable.